Hello everyone, welcome to the Advancement Centre and welcome to the world of magic and miracles. Once again, we talk about our elevated platform of living, our sense of being above whatever it is, and our ability to ride on top of the wave of circumstance and activity in the everyday world. So with all that, you wonder why we have anything else to say. And in fact, there's probably not much more to say, but there's a lot more to experience. As we move past the frame or the framework of living that we are aware of, you can get a picture of the fact that everything past that framework is much bigger than what's in the framework. And so when we try to relatively move above what we have, there's a knowing within you that you're going somewhere else. You're extending everything about yourself into what is not the normal framework of everybody's life. The difficulties around us are because we keep running into this framework. So as you rise above it and you decide to live on an elevated platform that has no definition, you find yourself able to move in all directions at the one time and experience much, much more than anything I can explain. So as we talk, there are different signals going out to every different person to give them a right of way, you might say, to explore what they've never explored before. And as we sit and talk, that little explanation that indicates there is much more helps you to disconnect from the framework of comparison. So in stepping past what you don't know, you go into an area where you don't have to know. You go to where it all comes to you automatically, clearly, with a smooth flow that takes you in all directions, all at the one time, and never, ever gives you even a moment to determine whether you're going forward, backwards, sideways, or any other way. You simply expand into the universal way of living that gives you access to everything and everyone. The words have a vibration behind them. And that vibration feeds the part of you that you very rarely access. It feeds the automatic inputs that determine your world around you. Trillions of them that simply act in a perfect manner to interface with the universe and cause a creativity without focus. So you can call yourself whatever you like and it doesn't matter, because this part of you belongs to you, belongs to the universe, and it doesn't overlap with anybody else. And this is where we're moving every day, further and further away from the picture and the framework that's been fed to us since we arrived on Earth. If I say you know all about it, somewhere inside of you, you get that agreement. But if I say to your brain, you know what I'm talking about, it will say, I have no idea. And the purpose is to make sure that the brain is comfortable with the fact that you can do more than what it does. The limiting factors of what we have used in the past will not come into play as we ride on top of the wave and know that what's in the wave is there to hold us up, not to come down on top of us. And so if you happen to get into the wave because of circumstance or other, it's only a matter of relaxing and allowing yourself to be in an existence which is the elevated platform of living. And you'll pop straight out of it, and everything that's happening around you will start to support you. The fact that the universe supports everyone at the same time has been known forever. But what has happened is, for the purpose of explanation, there have been fixed conditions placed so that explanation can happen. But at any time, anything is true. But at the next time, it's not true, because it's moved on, it's changed. Your circumstances changed, the universe has changed. The electromagnetic fields and the gravitational forces and all the other fields that we put out through our bodily system keep moving. And it's that movement that generates the power and the energy that appears in our being and around it. And it's an enormous power. But it's a gentle power that hurts nothing. It penetrates through everything and only affects something when there's a need. So everything you generate goes to other people, goes to things around you, goes to everywhere in the universe, and enhances the way all those things and all those people work. It can't do anything negative unless you put the brakes on. But if you allow the flow to just go through its own pattern, be bubbly, enjoy with a little bit of mischief, know that the energy returns to you and it starts to lift you without you doing anything else, because it's gone out from millions and millions of miles. It's enhanced everything on the way, and it's come back by a totally different route. And it's come back into your being and elevate the energies and the prospects of the future. So we don't have to think our future, we know it. We put our heart into something, we don't use our brain. We put our energies into something, we don't use our brain. It just happens. And that spark that comes alive within you is what we want to be alive all the time. It's something that you've never ever attempted to explain. But as soon as it happens, you know it's the ultimate, because you start to shine. You are much more than even can be taken as a photograph. Even your interaction with other things becomes multiplied by millions, but it's minor compared to what happens within you. So you are the measuring stick of your own self. Nothing else can measure it. Nothing is capable of even tapping in to your special music. But your special music enhances the music of everything else. So when we look for explanations, you've got to see it was a waste of time, because what you explained is already gone. It's great to have a picture and to talk about things, but if you're not generating everything to make yourself more than what you can explain, you've actually hurt yourself. In that world where people tell stories, where stories come to people, and I call it the world of stories, there's a dimension that totally supports the generation of everything you need within you. So if you're reading a book, or you're telling a story, or you're writing, or you're doing some artwork, or anything that's just coming to you, it's in that dimension where everything is free. And the more you get involved in the story, the more your body and your world and everything around you is supported automatically. So being totally practical all the time is actually a dimension that's so small that it can't provide the movement you need. Like all the dimensions in nature pop out of nowhere when you're starting to tell a story that has some magic in it. It can be a short story, or it can be a story that takes up your whole day or your whole life. But your interaction with that story is actually life itself. So in a practical sense, the chemistry of life and the science of life all exists in all these different dimensions that entertain our spirit. And you cannot take them apart and analyze them. But even a young child, you sit with them and read a book, read a story with a little bit of magic and a bit of flamboyance, a tiny bit of mischief. They can hardly sit still. Their life blossoms. And all the things that you would normally think a child gets up to changes into the beauty of a life of magic and miracles. So our interaction from the dimensions that we keep forgetting about is the driving force, particularly for the future. And the measuring system, or the measuring systems that we've put in place, cannot even apply in a dimension where you're listening, you're interacting, and you're putting yourself into a world that's created right there and then for you. So the elegance of each person's input into the world is about to be amplified once again, so that we can take one another on these special trips to when we've never been before, just with the interaction of our energies, where we can make sure that everybody has a perfect life, perfect health, and a magic future, because we decided And once we decided and we changed our mind to where that decision disappears and it's a reality, then everybody lives a perfect life with perfect health and a magic future. And it's as simple as that. Like the nursery rhymes, everybody lived happily ever after. It really works. That little statement stays with everybody who's ever read a child's book. So now we're actually bringing back into the world the simplicity that drives all the complexities of our being and of the universal interaction, not with each other, but with the world that we decide to be in. And it's not a decision in your head. It's one that you've already known and you know and you settle with. Not the one that when you're 3-year-old you said, this is right, that's wrong, I don't like that, I like this. And they result in a million rules. The world, each one of us, loves so dearly has no rules, has no repercussions, and there's never a disaster. It always works, no matter what happens. And everybody lives happily ever after. To just let you know that you have the power to do this without doing anything is a great honor, because it's now time for us to all show the respect for the infinite value of each person, and the personal respect that comes through me to every person is one that nobody will ever get over. It stays with you through eternity. To respect everything about everyone, not about their actions or their reactions, but to respect the capabilities that are beyond this world. And everyone is ready to just move outside of all the areas where you need a method. Move outside of asking how. Move outside of, is it possible? Most times, if you look at what you can do now, the initial response is that's impossible. But once you give yourself that it's impossible response, you've just opened the door to the challenge that you always wanted. And that's to do the impossible. And I'm very, very sure that everybody is ready, and that all the capabilities are in your field and surrounding you, ready to lift you to heights that you've never, ever imagined. I wrote the other day that advancement in everybody's field is taking on a new flow, a new lift, and a major part of the world, part of each person's world, will be taken up by advancement. And then I wrote, it actually feels in your system like you could fly. It's the closest feeling to that advancement that they could give me. And in every second it will grow, and it'll make you feel like you can fly in the face of anything. And the joy that comes from that is amazing. And there are no conditions, except probably you can't carry your house with you. It's a little bit hard to fly like that. So all the practical things will just have to stay where they are, as if you went on vacation. And they'll be there when you come back, if you ever come back. But moving into the most elegant part of your life is an overwhelming joy. And you don't have to be concerned about anything. It's all part of every package of data that comes to you. It's not data that goes in your head, it goes into your being. For you, it's simplicity. For the scientist, it's the most complex arrangement of intermingling flows that they could ever attempt to decipher. But for you, it's simple. You want to impress someone, you just impress someone. Have you ever seen a scientific analysis of how you impress someone? They wouldn't take it on. It's so simple for you, but so complex for science. Because you can impress someone in trillions of ways. And with that, you get a feeling of satisfaction in every component. So the simplicity is something you can put in words, but it's not contained as a single statement. It keeps varying, keeps moving. The millions of expressions on your face come from somewhere. They don't come from your head. They come from the interaction that you wish to have with the universe. And once again, you don't wish with your brain. It's a special feature which has got maybe 1 trillion inputs and outputs of fields that raise the sensitivity of your being so that you feel like you fly. The energies that are in everybody's life at the moment are gentle. And they will get more gentle. They will lift, and they will allow us to balance the gravity and the positive fields so that they hold an even keel no matter what is happening around you. We've listened to many people's theories, and that's good for a little while because it's an indicator of one set of circumstances. And you can listen to those theories for 1 million years, and you'll get 1 million years of past data. Does not help at all for the future. But once you follow your spirit, like a child does, and you watch it move, and you feel the sparkles, and you generate everything for the future, your present feeling, which is not going to be there in a half a second. It's so overwhelming that you cannot hang on to it. And so the flow continues and you start to lift. Initially, it feels like you're losing control of something. And that's good. Because if you don't allow the movement of the fields that you generate, they will stick inside you and blow you up. You have to allow everything to move from you so new stuff can come in. And that's the interaction that allows you to feel like you're going to lift. That's the wave of advancement that I'm talking about. And the layers upon layers of stuff, as you'd call it, actually just disappear. Nothing has to be fixed. Nothing has to be attended to. Because it's attended to via a million more inputs than what you can put in physically. Because of what comes from you in a heartfelt desire is tremendously more powerful than a fixed thought. And it doesn't knock you around. It just keeps increasing your capability of living in this world and other worlds and stretching yourself into dimensions that feel really comfortable. Dimensions of the birds, of the animals, of the trees, of the world of stories, of the parallel dimension that you use to check out to see if you can go to the beach while you're supposed to be doing something else. The continued use of all these dimensions allows us to expand and be the special being that's bringing the world into a higher place with a higher vibration, with a future that's beyond recognition. So now there's nothing to do. There is so much more to experience. The second you start to think, what will I do next, is the second you know you've got the brakes on. And you just laugh at yourself, have a bit of a smile, start to follow your spirit again, get on top of the wave and go, oh, to hell with it. I may as well live. And then you can feel the energy flow. And it keeps going. And the more you move with the energy, the less you have to do. So remember, nothing, do nothing, don't be lazy, be like a child, follow your spirit, live with the fantasy, tell the stories, and love one another as you've never loved before. So I wish you all a perfect life, perfect health, and a magic future, now and forever. Thank you so much.